Alright. 事件の映像がネット上に出回ると、警察への怒りが爆発. Sorry, I had my hatsus and my bakus backwards. 爆発. Okay, jiken, the incident, no eizo, the image. This can also, it's not just images, it can also be videos in this situation. The image of this happening happens to be a video, and thus eizo here can mean the video. So, the video of the incident, so, jiken no eizo ga netto jo. Notice they use netto jo, and that literally means on the internet, which is hilarious that they use jo. Like, the history of us using on for the internet is because you would hang something onto a hook that was on a wall and you could see it. And then in a similar fashion, they would project video onto a wall so you could see it that way. And notice how I said on the wall. Just like you're hanging a picture onto, like you're literally onto the hook on the wall. That on the wall is the same idea of the projector hitting the wall, which is why you watch things on TV. And this, because it's a similar thing that's happening, looking at an image and all this progression. That's why we say on the internet, because it's like a screen. I'm just shocked that Japanese went with nettojo. Like, that has to be an American influence. Like, it just has to be. Anyway, nettojo ni, on the internet. And this ni particle doesn't mean on. The jo means on. And the ni particle is telling us where the location of demawaru is. Demawaru is to, it exposes and it moves around. So be passed around, be viewed a lot. I don't necessarily think it means go viral, but I think it's almost at that area. So it spreads across the internet, might be demawaru. I'm not sure if it has the idea of go viral. I gotta be honest, I don't know my viral vocabulary for internet. So the video of the incident went up on the internet, spread around on the internet. So spread around on the internet, that kind of an idea. The toe particle is telling us when that happened. When the video of the incident went around the internet, keisatsu e no ikari ga bakuhatsu. Okay, so bakuhatsu, erupt, explode. Ikari ga bakuhatsu, the anger the anger erupted. What kind of anger? We're modifying it by a no particle and also by an e particle. Keisatsu, the police. So keisatsu e is to the police, and we're treating keisatsu e as a noun. So anger towards the police. Notice how even in English, I don't know, it's almost like anger towards the nanika feels like some single noun. Anger towards the police. So notice it. So let's look at this grammatically. It's anger, and it's to the police. But notice how ikari, the idea of anger, doesn't have any sort of a feeling of moving to a location. In English, we say anger towards the police, which honestly doesn't make any sense. Crazy English speakers, how do you have anger to something? Like, that doesn't, like, oh man, I'm gonna anger to Tokyo. And then you just sort of anger your way and you appear in Tokyo. Like, what's going on here? So Japanese is much more literal in its translation of to the police. And so they treat it like a noun and they use the no particle. So anger to, and then this is, anger to the police. And then because you can't actually anger to a police officer, they have the no particle, which in my opinion makes the most sense compared to English. Crazy English. So when the image of the event spread around the internet, anger to the police exploded, erupted. Notice how there's no actual verb. After this, there should just be a suru. They didn't bother putting it. So technically it just means explosion of anger. There's no actual verb there. Anyway, it's a verb. It's a verb. Okay. デモ隊が暴徒化し、警察署が放火される事件も起き、州知事は非常事態を宣言しました。Alright, we will, again, if you don't like my pronunciation, that's totally fine. Check out the Quizlet cards so that you can read them better. Okay, demotai. This is a group of protesters. The tai here kind of like means group. It's the tai in guntai, which is like the army. Ga boutoukashi. Okay, so bouto is a mob, a looters, a riot. And the ka is here, especially with the suru, to suggest that it turned into that. It changed into that. The ka is the ka of chemistry, kagaku. And in chemistry, you're changing things, right? So it changed into it changed into a riot is kind of what's happening. So the demonstrators, the group of demonstrators, ga boto kashi. So boto ka, so changed into rioting. And then the suru, the shi here is the stem of suru, which is the what happened. Keisatsu, a police station ga hoka sareru, was burned down. So a police station was burned down. Jiken mo oki. So with the demonstrators changing into rioting and looting and a mob, a police station was burned down. And then we have this weird Japanese where an incident whereby a police station was burnt down also occurred. Notice the mo particle also occurred, in addition to all the other horrible things that are happening here. Shu Chiji, the governor's what? The governor of the state. I don't know their name. What? Hijo jitai. We saw this in the previous video in the NHK articles. A state of emergency o sengen shimashita. They declared a state of emergency. Great. So notice this oki is also the te particle, or sorry, the te form. So the governor declared a state of emergency. And then again, this is almost providing a reason, but it's almost like having at the same time. With the incident of a police station being burnt down, with that having happened, the governor declared a state of emergency. And this happened with the rioters. Come on. There we go. Oh man, highlighting is so frustrating. With the demonstrators turning into rioters. Okay. The demonstrators turn into rioters. And an incident also occurred whereby a police station was burnt down. With that having happened, the state governors declared a state of emergency. We could do a better translation, but I'm trying to stay at least somewhat run-on sentencey like it is in Japanese, so you guys get that feel. Again, a lot of these Japanese sentences are better translated as 2 or 3 sentences in English. アメリカでは白人警官による黒人へのひどい差別が何度も繰り返されています。I'm sure this is true, but before we translate, I just want to say that I know this is true, but I also think this, I don't know, the implication of this isn't very good. Like, it almost makes it sound like we still got black people in chains. Anyway, in America, 繰り返されてます。繰り返されてます。So something is repeatedly happening. I noticed the sareru. This is the 繰り返される is the is something is repeatedly. The noun is repeated, so it is a passive voice. 何度も many times. What's repeated? Sabetsu, prejudice. Prejudice is repeated over and over again. Hidoi sabetsu, terrible discrimination or prejudice is repeated over and over and over again. This hidoi sabetsu is kokujin e no hidoi sabetsu ga nandomo kurikai sarete masu. So, discrimination towards blacks is repeatedly takes place over and over again. And this is who is doing it according or from this niyoru. Niyoru can sometimes mean according to.
Bueller?
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night.
And in the same way that it's niyoru, according to, the sabetsu is sort of flowing from the Hakujin Keikan, right? So white police officers through them or from them or by means of them. Notice how this is very similar to the de particle. Kokujin e no hidoi sabetsu ga nandomo kurikai sarete masu. So in America, terrible racism / prejudice towards black people through or from or by means of or according to the white police. Notice that there's no to particle. So this isn't like according to white police officers. This is through white police officers. Like they're the ones who are doing the hidoi sabetsu. Ga nando mo kurikai sarete masu. So terrible prejudice from white police officers to black people is often repeated. It is repeated over and over and over again. As an American, I have to put up some. I know it's true, but this sentence just really makes it sound like white police officers just go around punching black people. Like, I know that that's not what they're saying, but also having this sentence is misleading. I don't know. Something about this sentence seems off to me. I'll stop, my own little rant here. Anyway, 抗議デモはロサンゼルスやシカゴ、ニューヨークなどにも拡大してます。Okay, so the Kogi demo is the protesting demonstrations. Notice the mo particle are also, and then this is interesting. Kakutai. Kakutai is like magnify or intense. Are stemas are. I think they meant to say like expanding there, like they're expanding to these locations. But like this is expand is in like the idea of enlarge. So it's like enlarging. So the way the sentence sounds is like the demonstration is one thing and happening in Minneapolis, and then it's magnifying across America. Like, think about that. Instead of like one thing spreading or like numerous things happening, it's like there's one thing and it expands and it blows up over here and then expands. It enlarges by exploding other locations. Very interesting take on describing this. So the protest demonstrations are enlarging, have magnified. And it's like they have magnified into places like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Again, we have the ya particle. Oh, I shouldn't say again, we haven't seen it yet. In the NHK articles, we generally see a ya particle a lot when we're making an incomplete list of nouns. So we have a bunch of nouns and we don't want to say every single one. There were some just downtown in Columbus, where I live. Yeah, exactly. So that's what's happening. It's enlarging. It's embiggening if you're a Simpsons fan.
A noble spirit embiggens the smallest man.
Yeah! Springfield rules! Way to go, Springfield!
Embiggens? I never heard that word before I moved to Springfield.
I don't know why. It's a perfectly cromulent word.
They're enlarging, but think about how it's like there's a single demonstration and then it enlarges by exploding in other cities. And I mean that it's not spreading, it's enlarging, like you have a magnifying glass. That's the verb kakutai suru, to magnify, like to zoom in kind of a feeling. Oh my gosh, what just happened here? Okay, there we go. All right, I hope that helps. I hope this is interesting. This is very difficult Japanese, but that's the Yomiuri Shimbun kids take on this thing, on this situation that's happening in America. I hope that's helpful. It's a long one. I hope it was worth the small intro of me promoting myself. Have yourselves a happy day. Sorry to everyone who's having problems. Before I say anything else, this is terrible to say, but the problem isn't racism, and the problem isn't looters and rioters. The problem is voluntarily letting yourself get angry. And let's talk about that. If the police officer didn't get angry and he treated his George Flynn as a human like he should, like his brother, we wouldn't have had this problem. And if all the rioters and looters wouldn't have gone nuts and started burning down targets, people would be much more sympathetic to George Floyd. And I know that sounds rude, but I mean, think about that. The media's blasting, everything's peaceful. They're lying to you because they don't trust you either. And then they zoom on the streets and there's stuff burning on fire. This whole thing is a mess of people not respecting each other. Let's just be honest about what's happening here. If you just treat each other with respect, we don't have these issues. And that's what the real problem is. The real problem is that we're not treating each other like brothers and sisters. Voluntarily letting hatred into your heart. So be careful with that. Anyway, sorry for the somber ending. Have yourself a happy day. Peace out.